Доброго дня, шановні колеги. Запрошується до слова речник адміністрації президента з питань АТО, полковник.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. We start our briefing, and I give the floor to Colonel Oleksandr Motuzyanyk, who is a spokesman of the administration of the President of Ukraine on ATO issues. So the situation over the last 24 hours in Mariupol sector, the only place where combat action continues is the settlement of Shirokino, where over the last days we see the decrease of armed provocations on the side of militants. Over the last 24 hours, we detected 4 violations of the regime of ceasefire. In Donetsk sector, mostly the situation was not calm in the vicinity of Donetsk airport, in particular in the settlements of Pisky, Avdiivka and Marinka, and also suburbs of Gorlivka. The illegal armed formation have twice used mortars of 120 millimeters caliber banned by the Minsk agreements, and also they twice shelled our positions from 122 millimeter cannons next to Pisky. Also, they effected a provocation next to Novotroitsk. At the same moment, in Luhansk sector, we see the activization of militants and enemy subversive and reconnaissance groups. Shastya, Stanitsa Luhanska and Trokhizbenka remain hotspots on the front line. The Ukrainian border guards have detected 6 armed subversive agents who tried to penetrate Trokhizbenka. They were repelled by fire. The illegal armed formations have used small firearms and high-caliber machine guns during armed provocations against the forces of anti-terrorist operation in the vicinity of Popasna, Kirova, and the city of Zolotel. So the Ukrainian armed military have given a dignified debuff to the pro-Russian bandit formations during combat clashes next to Troitsk and Lozove. There were 3 flights of enemy drones in the borders of Donetsk and Luhansk regions. Over the last 24 hours, as a result of combat actions, 1 Ukrainian military died and another one was wounded. The actions of the pro-Russian militants cause the aggravation of the situation on the temporarily occupied territories. The leaders of the so-called DNR have announced that they lack money to pay their debts of salaries to the miners of the Donbas Anthracite state enterprise in Krasny Luch, Luhansk region. And this means that 4,000 workers will be dismissed from their jobs. At the same time, the militants continue to intimidate peaceful residents. They have launched a campaign of persecution of people on falsified cases to overcome any resistance and social dissatisfaction. The Ukrainian special services are detaining pro-Russian militants and subversive agents. In Kiev, the Security Service of Ukraine has detained a foreign agent who came to the city in order to destabilize the situation. He was planning to organize the so-called March of White Handkerchiefs, or White Babushkas, which was paid for by representatives of the former authorities, and to effect a terrorist act during this march. The terrorist act had to destabilize the situation in the capital of Ukraine and provoke riots, according to the plan of Russian curators. The terrorist who was detained was serving in the illegal armed formation Leshi, which acted in Luhansk region. He was engaged in interrogations and torture of Ukrainian military and peaceful pro-Ukrainian activists. Yesterday in Dnipropetrovsk, the Ukrainian Special Services have detained 4 adherents of the LNR bandit formation who were preparing attacks on volunteers and members of volunteer battalions and planned terrorist acts in the city. During the search, they found 5 hand grenades, were found also firearms with ammunition, computer equipment and communication equipment. The Ukrainian law enforcers continue to confiscate illegal arms. In Avdiivka, they have confiscated a submachine gun and ammunition. In Novomytrivka and Mariupol, they have confiscated a anti-tank grenade RPG-22 and grenades RGD-5 and F-1 and a great number of rounds of ammunition. The Ukrainian commandos have successfully performed all the tasks in the course of training. They, in particular, forced the southern Bug, Pivdenny Bug River, more than several thousand commandos and hundreds of units of hundreds of vehicles were transported through across the river on a 400-meter long part of the river. Also, part of them were transported through the river by a pontoon, and part of them, like armored personnel carriers, commando machines, and self-propelled artillery vehicle Nona, forced the river on themselves. The head of the General Staff has said that the training testifies to the high level of preparedness of the military servicemen. The National Guards of Ukraine have also conducted training on armored vehicles. They, for instance, there was a training with armored personnel carriers. They were conducting this training for a week, and the practical help was provided by the experts from Kyiv and Kharkiv repair plants of armored vehicles. Besides, they have conducted a 200-kilometer march. In Kyiv, they commemorate the memory of the fallen heroes on the 30th of May on the outer wall of the St. Michael's Monastery at Trochsvetitelska Street in Kiev. They opened the first part of the memorial dedicated to those who have fallen for the unity of Ukraine. The first part of the memorial is composed of 3 banners with photos and data on those who died to defend Ukraine from the 18th of March until the August of 2014. That's it. Your questions. Fifth channel. Mr. Colonel, 1 person died, 1 was wounded. Do we know where this happened? Yes, we have 1 military serviceman killed. This happened because of the combat clash next to Troitske, and 1 person was wounded next to Shirokine in Mariupol sector. Any other questions? No other questions. Thank you, Colonel. And for today, our working day has